Hey, good morning. Happy Monday. I hope you made it through the weekend all right. I certainly did. I had a great weekend. I went to a workshop where it was called Reinvent. And what we did is we did all this beautiful parts work of all the times we've reinvented ourselves. And it was really just such a great start to the week to go through a few days of doing integration and connecting. You know what? There's something really cool about large live stream groups. There was this whole stream of consciousness going on in the chat room, plus people on the screen. Everybody's responding to everybody else. It's almost like being part of a super mind. Where you're not only at the conference watching what's going on, but you're seeing what everybody else is thinking in the audience. And it's a very interesting cross-pollination sort of thing. So we'll be looking at doing a workshop sometime soon where we are able to have a large number of people there. And we'll do it for a couple days. It's just so nice. You pop in and out, you can have a snack, you can be comfortable, and also be part of this crazy internet hive mind. So let me be part of your hive mind, because I'm a good person to sort of entrain to. I'm a good person to align with, because I'll help you think on higher levels. I'll help give you the tools and the insights that help you get to that next level of being able to stand up for yourself and not being afraid of narcissists anymore, and learning how to deal with um, how how to live in a world that's toxic overall, and how to finally let go of the body memories, not just the mind memories, but the body memories behind any trauma that you have. And I'm sure you have trauma from being with a narcissist. So one of the biggest problems with trauma, that what is trauma actually? It's kind of a wiggly term. Trauma, as we're using it today, is something that happens to you that you feel you have no control over, that you feel helpless to, and that you don't process through. You don't have someone to talk about, you don't think it through, you stay stuck in that part of your life, in that memory, in a place of reaction, going within, fight or flight, which is a whole different part of your brain. When you are re experiencing trauma, and every time your nervous system says, oh shit, it's probably re-experiencing trauma, because there aren't a lot of physical things. There aren't a lot of tigers running after us. There aren't a lot of, we don't live in Upper Mongolia in the mountains by ourselves. There's a lot of things going on. And when we can stay in our frontal lobe, when we can stay out of our trauma, that's when we're able to really make the biggest difference in our lives and create something new. It's our trauma that tends to keep sidetracking us and sabotaging us and yanking us back, because something reminds us of something that is unprocessed, something that we've never gone back to really and felt through our bodies. It's as if we were in a situation, we had no control, it happened, unexpectedly, and we froze and our emotions got shoved down, or we got angry and our emotions got shoved down and things got shoved down. And then we put it away on a shelf, never to look at it again. I know a lot of people who've lived their whole life that way. Something bothers them, they put it in a jar, put it on the shelf, and it's gone. But the problem is unless you actually process through something, unless you come out of your fight or flight, come out of your amygdala, which is your fight or flight, back into your frontal lobes, which is your calmer, more rational mindset, you can feel it too. When you're in fight or flight, you're in your sympathetic nervous system. Think of sympathy. Think of, oh my God, that's terrible. That's that high emotional reaction. When you're in parasympathetic, you're in that, oh yeah, I get it. That's curious. I'm interested. You can handle different points of view. You can have conversations with people without feeling reactive. Now, what a narcissist is brilliant at is finding all of your traumas and using them against you, because they're coming from a place of insecurity. They're coming from a place of fear, habit, pattern, underdeveloped amygdala, brain chemistry, whatever it is. And they're in a place of needing to protect themselves at all costs, which means that they'll play dirty pool. every day of the week. They will play dirty pool because they feel that they have no choice. This is what they have to do to live. And so you keep getting traumatized by a narcissist because it's not a healthy relationship and you're not able to express yourself. And if you have trauma or narcissistic people in your life from the past, then it all gets triggered. All those memories come up, and that's what we're reacting to. But it's hard to see it when it's just the narcissist in our face. So if you come from some sort of childhood trauma and you're in a relationship with a narcissist and you're finding yourself walking on eggshells or reacting or having anxiety disorders or deep depression or some other mental health sort of emotional thing going on, it's your old trauma. And most times it's trauma that hasn't been processed. It's because you haven't felt safe enough, felt comfortable enough, and been able to get your mind out of fight or flight, which a lot of people a large number of people are in for sometimes decades. I was in fight or flight almost constantly for, the first 40 years of my life. So we're in that state of fight or flight. And we don't even know or think it'll work or feel safe enough to go from our sympathetic to our parasympathetic, to go from I need to protect myself at all costs to maybe we can work through this. I can see clarity. I see the next few steps. We can do this and it's okay, to a different developmental stage, from it's all about me and I'm scared to being able to see both of you, not just the other person, but both of you in a place of compassion. So how do you do this? How do you get your body to go from sympathetic, which is, oh shit, to parasympathetic, which is, maybe we can do this? How do you get from one to the other? Well, it's not going to just be through psychotherapy. A lot of people, that's the first step. You go to psychotherapy, you go to 12-step groups, and a lot of it's a mental health game. It's trying to think differently with your head. But if your nervous system, if your body is still holding on to the trauma, then it's going to do things like you're going to have big adrenaline releases where you can't stop yourself shaking, or you'll get depressed and heavy and you can't move and all you can do is stare at the wall. Or maybe your heart beats way too fast. Or maybe you have digestive issues and you always have IBS, Crohn's, heartburn. You have these other issues going on. Maybe at a certain time every day, you always feel a certain way. That's you going into your amygdala. That's you being in the fight or flight and reacting to something. How do you get out of that? How do you stop yourself when you know a narcissist is coming home and your body starts to freak out? Maybe you drink. Maybe you take drugs. Maybe you leave and run away. Maybe you eat ice cream. Maybe you snack all the time. Maybe you get into big blowout, gigantic fights. Maybe you go to the doctor and get antidepressants or anti-anxiety. There's lots of ways that people cope to that fear. And what is that fear? That fear is unprocessed trauma. Why haven't you processed through it? Because you haven't had any help. Because you don't know that you can. Because you don't have the tools that will do it for you. All right? Same thing when you're in the middle of an argument. Now you're losing control, you're angry, you're furious, you're rageful, you can't even get your own perspective, and all you want to do is hurt someone and run away. This is where a narcissist lives a lot of times. They're in that high, protect, run away, I'm cornered like a rat sort of feeling they have in themselves many days. And it's just a reaction. It becomes a habit. This is the way you have to live life. They punch and run. So now you're in the middle of an argument with someone who's punching you and you're punching back and the whole thing is spiraling down and your kids are watching or listening, or there's other stuff that you need to get done, but you just spent all day or 2 days or 3 days in a big knockdown blowout fight. Well, what about afterwards? What if you're so scared of a narcissist that you're hiding in the bathroom, that you've got physical issues, that you're puking, that you've got a headache, that your sinuses and allergies are acting up, that your body feels so old and so creaky and achy that you can hardly move, and you wonder, what's the point? It's the after effect. Now you're in the depression. Now you're waiting for the next time. This is a cycle. It's a cycle of being in fight or flight. How do you break out of it no matter what? It's a very simple tool. It's called havening, Havening. And havening physically takes your body out of the amygdala, out of fight or flight, and into your frontal lobe. So out of your sympathetic, and into your parasympathetic, which is, oh, interesting. Now, people aren't like this all the time. In other safe relationships, they're in their parasympathetic, they're high achieving, they're successful, they're amazing. But in this one relationship, because it's a deep unhealed trauma from the past, whether you remember it or not, whether it was just something that was passed down, you're reacting to that. It makes people, women, because I work with women, feel hijacked and betrayed by themselves and angry at themselves because they can't stop it. Here's how you stop it. Havening, Havening. All right, take your arms, one on your left, one on your right, and stroke down your arms. Oh, first thing you need to do, you have an emotion. Let's say I wake up this morning and I have a knot in my stomach. And I say, on a 0 to 10, what's the intensity of this knot? And I may say 9. All right, so you have to give it a number. Then you take your arms, you stroke down your arms 20 times. It's important to at least do it 20 times. You can do it more, but at least do it 20 times. And you can do it over and over. You can do this, and then you get triggered again, do it again. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to screw anything up. But what it does is it takes you out of your sympathetic into your parasympathetic so that you can process through, so that you can get the stress off of your body from unhealed memories in your body that your nervous system is still holding on to. After about 10, you'll notice that your body relaxes. They don't know why. They've done tons of tests, and it's also based on thousands of years of cultural medicines, and they've backed it up with science, that this physical movement takes you out of your amygdala and back into your frontal lobe. And around 10, I feel myself relax. And then through the 10, it's like finishing up. It's like, how do we process through our body? I don't remember how many that is, but I know I already flipped from my sympathetic to my parasympathetic because I relaxed. And you'll feel it too. And you'll get good at feeling it. You'll get good at getting yourself out of the sympathetic to the parasympathetic. And every time you do this, every time you trigger around something and then process through it, you're taking a weight and a burden off of your body. Many times you felt angry or hurt or frustrated because you would get triggered but have no way to deal with it. Now you're the angry one and they're fine because they just spent the last half an hour telling you what a piece of shit you were. It's something like that. So they feel fine because their coping mechanism is to explode. Their coping mechanism is to they're anal expulsive rather than anal retentive. And they feel better. But now you are on edge. Your body's shaking. Your heart is racing. You don't know what to do. You're frozen. You're desperately trying to pretend like nothing is bothering you. And you're sick to your stomach. And you just wish your body would stop feeling so shaky. And you maybe go to the bathroom or go for the rest of the day and you're pissed. You're pissed because they did it to you again. They're fine. And now you're in a bad space. Now you have to deal with the physical and emotional consequences. If you do the havening, every time you trigger, you're able to process through another trauma. Every time. Oh, I forgot the last piece. So you do the 20 strokes and then you give it another number. Now I'm at a 4. Whereas remember, I started at a 9. Now I'm at a 4. It's important to do the 2 numbers because it closes the loop. So you do the first number, what's the intensity? You do the 20 strokes, just all the way down to your wrists, not fancy, not specific. And then you give it another number. That closes the loop. That finishes the processing. That allows, it brings your past self up into your present self, up to where you really are now. You're no longer the little girl hiding in the closet. Now you're a woman who has resources and capacities and intelligences and friends and support. And, now you're in a much better place. But your nervous system doesn't know that yet. And so we're bringing it from the past, from the trauma, and bringing it up to the future. So havening, if you want to know more, look it up. but it's brilliant, brilliant work. You get to use it anytime you feel an emotional charge, anytime you feel taken over. Now, as I said, many of us, many women feel that way all the time, like they're constantly on edge. And that's why they're drinking or eating or drugs or alcohol or whatever it is that they're doing, shopping or fighting or running, or excessive workout or bad relationships or sex or, all sorts of things that we use to ignore that our body is freaking out, right? Or about to freak out. If you use havening instead, the stroking thing we just did, number it, 20 strokes, number it again. If you do that, you'll start to take the traumas out of your body. So instead of having all these emotional landmines that you're just trying to protect and get triggered over and over, let it get triggered, do the havening, and there's a little bit of stress that just got processed through, a little bit of less craziness in your body. And every time you get triggered and every time you haven, you get a little bit better. So now you start to look at triggering as maybe not so bad, not something you should avoid. In fact, if you trigger and nobody's around, it's perfect. Here's a little hack too. Let's say you're around other people and you're feeling triggery. Okay, you're feeling a little on edge. You can do havening in your head. Your body doesn't know the difference between something you physically do and something that you imagine well. So let's say you're sitting in the doctor's office and you don't want to look loony by starting to rub your arms, right? Right. So instead, you can feel it. Feel yourself doing that experience. Feel yourself having that experience. Feel yourself stroking down your arms. Give it a number. Feel yourself stroking down your arms 20 times, and then give it another number. It's not as effective, but it definitely helps in a pinch. It keeps you from looking kind of weird. You know, many times if you're feeling triggered, it's okay to go to the bathroom. It's okay to go to another room because havening only takes a minute and a half, 2 minutes tops. It's okay. You can go to the kitchen. You can go outside. You can take a walk. You can do this in your shower. You can do it multiple times in your shower. You can do it while brushing your teeth. So you have to remember to use this very, very important tool. And there's more, but let's start with this one. Use this very, very important tool every time you start to feel a little triggery, every time you start to feel anxious or on edge. And if you feel that way all the time, start doing it all the time. And notice, feel how you go from tense to relaxed, tense to relaxed. Notice how that happens. And really around 10, around the 10th stroke is when I frequently notice. It may take less or more for you, but that's when I'll notice I get out of my amygdala, into my frontal lobe, out of my sympathetic, into my parasympathetic. And now I can feel better. Okay. So I want you to try that. I want you to start putting into your life, and you'll find that you're starting to feel better and think clearer through problems. And you don't get as hijacked by your own thoughts, feelings, and emotions, or the past, or by a narcissist craziness. You don't get as hijacked. And the more you do of it, the less hijacked you get. And the more you're able to stand your ground and really speak your truth and stand up for yourself. And that's when your relationship changes, either because you leave and find something better, or because the person that you're in a relationship with can't hide anymore from their own dysfunction because you're too healthy. And now there's this mirror, and the only person that they can look at is themselves, or they leave, one or the other. So if you're feeling stressed out, try havening. If you know women who are in toxic relationships, who are chronically stressed, anxious, depressed, overwhelmed, or have really bad habits to cope with this, pass these videos on to them. If you're someone who's ready to go to a higher level of thinking, one where you can calmly stand there and prove your point, how you can be the one that doesn't get triggered, how you can be the one that is looking 3 to 4 steps ahead. One of the reasons you're not good at an argument is because a narcissist has been thinking about this for a long time and they catch you off guard. If you're not caught off guard, if you're able to stay grounded, guess who's going to win the argument? That'll probably be you, because they're coming from an emotional, irrational, triggery, fight or flight place. And you're coming from a place of centeredness and calm. You got the goods. You're going to be able to win because you can see the bigger picture and you can see what the narcissist is doing further than they can. Okay? So I hope you have a great rest of your day. Reach out if you want to think on a different level, if you want some help with it, if you're a successful woman in all these other areas of your life, but this one keeps hijacking you and you're ready to put it down and get on with it already, give me a call. We'll set something up. I'll talk to you later. Bye.